Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Ask the Accountant Pitstop podcast here live on the show floor at Accountex 2025. We've been bringing you content after content after content of this event, and we've got another special guest lined up for you. But if you're liking this, make sure you like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff, and we'll make sure we bring more content to your eyes. So, Kath, just start with who you are and why you're here. Go for it.
So good. I've never done a podcast
Whoa.
interview in the middle of such an amazing exhibition. This is the first.
You saved it
Feeling
there.
very grateful.
I was going to say, surely you've had a podcast interview before.
Oh, absolutely, but never in an exhibition like this.
Really?
So, yeah.
I mean,
great
from
to
a
be
technical
here.
point of view, it's
Interesting.
It's interesting. Let's put it that way. We'll go through. Who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah, so my name is Catherine Morgan. I am the founder of The Money Panel and also a fellow podcaster. My show is called It's Not About the Money. And we dive into conversations with financial professionals into the psychology of money, why we make decisions
I like that.
about money.
Like that a lot. And the reason we know each other is you're about to come on a speaking panel with us over at Accountex, aren't we? So, are you excited? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I love talking about podcasting. I started podcasting 5 years ago, and the only reason I actually started was because I hated doing video.
Oh, really?
I hated just seeing myself on camera.
So,
and I was like,
as the industry's now moved to video, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm struggling with that one still. But it's just so easy for me to just grab a mic, sit in my PJs with my cup of tea and just talk about money and not have to worry about seeing myself in camera. Like, obviously now I do a lot of speaking work, so much more confident now being in front of camera. But that was the reason I started podcasting. So I'm excited to talk about that.
I love that.
On the panel.
So, if you could, you'd be here in your pajamas.
If I could, yes.
If that was socially acceptable, which is ridiculous how it's
I
not,
love
right?
lockdown. I could just sit in my PJs all night. No one would know.
Okay, Accountex 2025. Have you ever been to Accountex before?
Nope,
Still, is it?
never. First time.
So what was your first impression of this event?
Well, interestingly, when I walked into this exhibition hall, it reminded me of probably like 15 years ago now, when I came out of the banking sector. So I was a financial advisor for 20 years. And my very first business I was an image consultant. So I was helping people to understand what colours they should wear and what shapes of clothing they should wear.
Yeah.
And off the back of that business, I then created another online business, which was jewellery and accessories. And I actually came to an exhibition like this and I would walk around trying to pick all of my items that I would then be selling online. And it was a really interesting journey to not pick the things that I really liked pick the things that I thought was going to sell. And that was probably the last time I've been in a kind of exhibition environment. So, yeah, it was really great to step back into...
Nice. And has it surprised you? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, normally an accountant and an expedition doesn't sound like it should mix, right? Has it surprised you in any way?
No, not at all. I think what has surprised me, actually, is the divergence of the people here.
Yeah.
Like, given that I've been in financial services since I was 18... very male dominated, and actually coming into
suited
the room,
and booted mostly.
We're all wearing pink tags. All the speakers seem to be wearing pink. I think there must have been a secret memo that went around to say make sure you wear pink as a speaker. And just the depth, the diversity in the conversations around numbers has been quite surprising.
I love that.
In a good way.
Love that. So that was your first impression of the event, but what are you most looking forward to out of this event?
Obviously, the podcast conversation later. I love talking about, the content side, the marketing side. It's great to have some good conversations with people on the different stands. There's some pretty good fun arcade games to win prizes, so that's been fun. And this morning I did a really cool keynote where I was giving away £50 from the stage. Did you miss it?
I was here.
You were here? Of course you were.
I feel like I'm out of pocket. Oh, wow. That's a cool event. I like that, yeah. What was the idea behind it? What was the kind of talk behind it?
Well, two reasons. One was I watched a TEDx talk that said how to be a good speaker. And there was 110 skills that you had to master to be a good speaker. And I was like, that's a lot of skills.
Let's start with number one.
Well, how else could people remember me? I'm just going to give away money from stage. But no, on a serious note, it's like a money experiment. So when I'm giving out £50 from stage, I ask people to put out their hands who would like £50, right? And it's really interesting that when You get half the room that will keep their hands down. They're like, I daren't ask for money. Where are the strings attached?
Yeah.
What do I have to do? I haven't worked hard for that money.
I love that. Yeah.
And then there's another half of the room that are like, yeah, give me this money, give me this money. But then halfway through the talk, what they don't realize is that I then ask them to give that money to somebody else and to explain the reason why they've chosen that person. And then for the receiver of that £50, how do they feel to be receiving money?
Amazing.
And it's an interesting dynamic between how do you feel to be given money and how do you feel to receive money, and connecting that into the psychology of how do we feel to receive compliments, how do we feel to receive love and connection, how do we feel about asking for money, especially as accountants and bookkeepers. And just because we work with money doesn't make us good with money.
No.
And so that's an interesting dynamic to throw into the mix.
I love that. So do you feel like the person who got the £50 was grateful? Did it all work out well, or was there tears involved?
Yeah, I should apologise to Jack. Jack, bless him, he put his hand up. He was like, yes, give me the £50. First person with his hand up. And then halfway through, I was like, I'm really sorry, Jack, but I need you to give us money to somebody else. So I think he was quite devastated that maybe he should have
waited. Maybe been the one who got
Yeah, so we were teaching about delayed gratification. So
all these lessons that are learning, all these lessons. I love it. So an event like this, right? And you said you've been to those other events. How do you take action from an event like this? Because we're all giving up our time, our money, there's costs involved. There's all sorts of things, right? But what is your pro tip, especially for people who may never have been to an event like this?
Yeah, it's actually a really good question, because for any event that you attend, whether it's a conference, a workshop, a retreat, anything like that, like I always have a reflection day in my calendar for the following day.
Love that.
It's a time to reflect on those conversations, maybe proactively then go and reach out back to, we had this great conversation about this, I'd love to pick up on this. Because I think so often, and I remember being a financial advisor going to so many hours of CPD events, and then you kind of go from learning to not doing anything with that learning. And, I think that having some very specific, calculated, strategic time in your diary that you put in advance of every day that you are booking in your calendar just gives you the space to contemplate and to reflect and think about, right, what are the actions I want to take and how do I prioritize those actions?
I love that. Great answer. Okay, so this industry, I know you dabble in it, right? I think that's a fair way of saying it, in the accounting and bookkeeping industry. But what is it about this industry that you love about it? What draws you to this industry?
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, I fell into financial services, right? When I was 18, my sister worked at a bank. I was like, that looks like quite a cool place to go and work. Wanted to get my first house, so very money driven by, making good money. So I really kind of fell into financial services. But what I do love about accountancy, financial services, I think there's a lot of overlap between them. And I feel like it's one of the most exciting industries to be involved in, because I feel like if you are looking after somebody's money, you have like one of the most important jobs. Right, because money rules everything. Yeah. Every decision we make in life is linked to money in some way. But also, the way that we feel about ourselves is linked to money in every single way, right? So you get to be part of one of the most important relationships that people have.
Yeah.
And I think that's really exciting. And I think that the evolvement of AI and how that is going to progress the way that we serve clients, the skills that we have as accountants and financial professionals will also evolve. Certainly for us, we're seeing a really big shift towards accountants who want to differentiate themselves. And one of those things is around helping a client with their relationship with money, right? This is one of the reasons why we work so closely with accountants in the financial coaching world, is understanding like what drives their decisions around money.
Yeah.
And I think that differentiation is going to be really important in the accountancy world, and the same as financial services. And it makes it really exciting.
And it gives us relevance, right? Like when AI and everything else is, quote unquote, taking away our jobs and compliance becomes less and less, we need those soft skills, right? That's how we're going to stay relevant. So.
Yeah, and I think we've always had them. Like, I think people are talking about like we need to have more soft skills, we need to be better listeners, ask better questions. I think we've always had the skills. I think where I'm seeing the shift is in things like CPD or trainings podcasts that people are listening to, they're wanting to get curious to how can they not just focus on the technical side, which maybe they have had more access to in the past, to actually how can I start to differentiate by upskilling in a different way. And I think for a lot of accountants as well, the reason they do what they do is because they love human connection, you know, they love talking
100%.
to customers. And so I actually think that the role of AI is going to better support accountants, because then AI can do some of the technical stuff so that we don't have to do that. And we can actually spend more of our time in building really strong, meaningful relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said many a time, I'm not an accountant because I like filing VAT returns. It's helping small businesses, right? Like, that's what I love to do. So yeah, love that. Okay, so that's what you love about the industry, but what would you change about the industry?
Oh, such a good question.
What keeps you up at night? What's that niggling at the back of your head?
My answer would have been different 2 or 3 years ago to what it is now. I feel like certainly being a woman in this industry, I was the only female in my team for like 5 years when I was an advisor. That was 20 years ago. And I think now there's been so much focus on gender disparity and gender diversity in this space. And I think that we've come a long way in that. And what I'm seeing there is that it's safer and more recognized to be neurodivergent or to be a woman or to be a man, or like, it doesn't actually really matter about any of those things. But I think where there's still room for expansion is really into better understanding how accountants can actually feel better about the job that they're doing. Like, I think so much of our attention goes on our clients and how we can best support them. But it's not easy being in business, you know, and you know yourself, being in business, it can be a very lonely place. And I think especially the after effect of COVID is that we are seeing the impact now on people's mental health. And so I think that the way that we are working in our businesses is going to need to evolve. And I think that the part that money will play in that will be so entirely different. Like, the role of money will be so entirely different in 2 years' time, let alone what it's like now. When you think about the way that we manage and spend money is so different now. And with the rise of digital currencies, like, money's just not even going to be the same that it has ever been. We've already seen that digital move. Like, none of us carry cash anymore, you know? So I think that there's some exciting changes to come, but I do think that sometimes we can be a little bit internalized in our profession, and sometimes we keep all the conversations, all the really good conversations within the industry, and actually we need to get out of those industries and talk to other industries and other organizations about how we can share some of those experiences, so it's not just internal conversations that no one's actually hearing.
But I don't think it's just our industry. I think the vendors and the software support that we get doesn't help matters either. Like, for me, I would see one of the best innovations we've had for a long time is challenger banks, and they've come along and they've changed the way people perceive money, right? Because they've created these amazing pots and these automated pots, and they help, and especially for clients who find that absolutely scary. The fact that every time money comes in, it can automatically put to there. But then as accountants and bookkeepers, we don't get access to that data. So we're always fighting with the software developers and the regulations and everything else. So
interesting.
I think there's a wider conversation there, isn't it, about everyone needs to be involved to make that work.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I love the challenger banks, the likes of Starling and Monzo.
Exactly.
You know, I love the functionality that can really support clients. I think especially today I've been talking on a neurodivergent panel, and I think that if you've got clients who are sitting on the neurodivergent spectrum, having money pots, being able to visualize money is really important. So, but I do agree that there could be some better synergy between...
Yeah, because the worst thing we can ever do is go, please don't use that functionality because we can't track it and we can't help it.
We can't reconcile it.
Yeah.
My bookkeeper hates it. She's like, it's so difficult to reconcile transactions.
We shouldn't be fighting against that, right? We should all be working together.
I think, though, that's where like the psychology piece and the practical piece come together, right? Is that if you think about that, the money pots is just it's mental accounting.
Exactly.
So from a psychological perspective, it's really supportive. But then on the technical side, it's like, this doesn't work from a reconciliation perspective. So it's almost like, where does the psychology piece come in alongside the practical application of the technology that clients are using?
We shouldn't be stopping people from using that just to make our life easier, right? And it's a tough one. Okay, let's pretend that we've got a time machine, and let's pretend this time machine can take you back 12 months. And what I want you to imagine is you've got an opportunity to go back to yourself 12 months' time, and you're going to take with you a gadget or a piece of software, or you're going to take something with you. It could be an app, it could be a business, personal, doesn't matter what it is. But what have you found lately that you've gone, that's really changed the game for me? That's absolutely like wow factor that you wish you had 12 months or even further back. Like what's that one piece of tech that you'd want everyone else to know about?
The one thing that's just come up for me as you've asked that question is I was like, Claude AI is my second husband. Like Claude is a man for me. And literally, I think I speak to Claude sometimes more than I speak to my husband. And I genuinely mean that, like, as a business owner, as somebody who supports people with money. And when I say Claude AI, like whether you're using ChatGPT or Claude or other AI LMM systems, I've literally got so many different roles in my life now that I've built using Claude. So as an example, I have a therapist, I've got a ADHD coach, I have a money mindset expert, I've got a PA, I've got a travel agent, like so many different roles, marketing manager, a podcast production expert, like all of these different roles, like AI, like an AI team that I've created. And it's honestly saved me thousands of pounds, thousands of hours of just like overthinking, especially as a content creator. You're like, I've got all these ideas and what do I do with all these ideas? So I honestly think that's changed the game for me. And so much so that I'm even now being hired to like build chat GPTs for clients who are like, I want my own Warren Buffett investment advisor, like tell me how I should be investing my money. And, you know, and I do think that probably a year before that, there was this perception that there's some fear around, is AI going to take my job? And a client's going to be using AI more than they come to me. And I think if you can embrace AI and use it to support you as a business owner or your clients, like it's just a game changer, personally and on a business level. Like we went to Canada last year. We toured Canada for a month in a camper van.
Oh, wow.
And we used ChatGPT. We were like, we're a family of 4. We have 2 neurodivergent children who have to know exactly where we're going, when we're going there, how long it's going to take to go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Build us an itinerary to get us from Vancouver to Toronto over 4 weeks. Tell us where we should eat as a family, where are the key places we need to go visit. It just created this whole itinerary, and I just think that's so incredible to be able to save so much time and energy.
Love that. Love that. I mean, you've stolen my next question. My next question is, we've just gone back 12 months, and now you've taken that forward. But let's put it in a different way. So normally we would ask the question around, how do you feel AI is going to change the game for you in 12 months' time? But obviously you're already using it. But do you think there's one aspect where you're looking forward to seeing that get involved more? Like the cogs of turning, right? And you're already seeing that you can use it in this application, that application, that application. Is there one application that you're thinking, I wish someone would come along and innovate, or I wish I had the time to invest to find that out? Is there any area that you're looking forward to how AI is going to help?
I think the most important thing for me, and I have been using AI for around 2 years now, I was probably one of the earlier adopters.
Yeah, definitely.
Although not the first. But I think the important factor for me is about using AI in a really ethical way. So one of the things that I do, for example, if I'm using ChatGPT or Claude, is that I will treat it in the way that I want it to AI to look like in the future. You know, so I will say things like, take your time with your answer, take a breath, take a moment to pause before you contemplate the answer to this question. And I think that for me is probably the biggest fear, is that how we use AI now is literally, it's like we are breeding the next generation, right? If you were to bring up a child, how would you want that child to behave? We have a responsibility, I think, as business owners to use AI in a really ethical way. So I guess that is on the forefront of my mind, where I'm like, well, what am I excited about? What kind of AI tools can support that? And I do think that as business owners, carve out an hour a week and put it in your diary for AI learning and go and listen to AI podcasts. There was a great episode this week just on Diary of a CEO with Daniel Priestley, key person of influence author, and he was talking a lot about this piece. And I think if you can go and learn more about it, you'll feel less fearful about using AI, but also get really excited about how do you want to shape AI and how do you want to be using it going forward into the future.
I like that. And I mean, I've always been a thank you and everything else about it, but I've never taken it to that level of take some time. I love that. I love that. And that's definitely something I'm going to take away with.
If we think of it as a human, right, we want this AI human to behave in a way that is going to be supportive for their nervous system, and I do a lot of nervous system work, especially around money, right? Because when we don't feel safe in the body, that's when we feel stress. And so it is important, I think, to build in some of the psychological behaviors that we would want that AI tool to bring on, as a behavior. So asking it to take its time and
I love that.
contemplate and take a breath, just nice little cues that you can add into your prompts when you're using AI, and you'll see a difference. Like, you'll ask the question and then ask the question again, or maybe using a different LMM platform, and look at the difference in the response when you do ask it to take some time to take a breath or contemplate. It's really interesting.
Wow. Okay. Definitely something to think about. Right. Okay. We've got to the end of our podcast pit stop, and now we're going to play a silly little game. So our silly little game is very straightforward. I have 5 cards in front of me, and you're going to ask me questions I can only say yes or no to. If you need to skip at any point, which you're able to do, you can take a skip, but it is a 1-minute penalty. And we have a leaderboard. I can't remember, who did you say you wanted to beat on the leaderboard? Was there anyone on there?
Well, obviously Aaron, number one. Right, 2 minutes 23.
All right, okay. Pressure's on then, that's fine. I believe you can do it. I believe you can do it. Right, in 3, 2, 1, ask me some silly questions.
Is one of them you?
We'll do one at a time, so the first one.
Oh, okay. Is the first one you?
No.
Is it a woman?
Yes.
Oh. Do they work solo?
No, and they definitely don't now.
Does their first name begin with the second half of the alphabet or the first half of the alphabet?
I can only say yes or no.
Oh, okay. Is it after the letter H?
Just after.
Just after. Okay. H-I-J. J. Joe? Joe Woods.
Yay!
Yes!
Next one.
Is this her business partner, Zoe?
I could cheat. There we are. Next.
Are they on a podcast panel later?
Are they on a podcast panel? Yes, they are.
Are they a woman?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Yes! Who else is on our panel? Okay, is this next person also on our panel?
I'm not cheating this time, so no.
No.
This is not a person.
Gosh. Have they spoken today?
Not
on
a
stage?
person.
Pardon?
Not a person.
Not a person. What does that mean? They're not a person?
Yeah. So it's a card that's not a person.
Oh. It's a piece of software?
No.
An AI robot?
No, but I wish it was.
Oh. Who else is here? What else is here? I have literally no idea. Is it a physical object?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it the building?
What's in the building?
What's in the stands, banners, food, sweets, notebooks, Accountex?
Oh, it's Accountex. Yeah, next.
Ah. Okay. Is this a physical person?
Yes.
Man?
Yes.
Good looking?
I mean, I would say yes.
It's got to be you then, Aaron.
Congratulations. You did it without any skips at all. 2 minutes and 13 seconds, which actually puts you very high up the list. Yeah, you're number 1.
Oh, yes, look at that. Go me.
So, lofty ambitions, you do. Well done, congratulations. This is your opportunity to use that camera, whichever camera you want to use, and you are now permitted to plug, and plug away.
Ooh, plug away. Well, as a podcast listener, come over and listen to my podcast. It's not about the money. You can head over to my website, catherinemorgan.com, and grab a free copy of my book. It's not about the money. Yeah, that's it. It's been a pleasure.
Does anyone else start
Thank
singing
you.
Jessie J at the same time?
No,
every
it's
time
not
you do
about
your
the money,
yeah,
money, no.
every time you've said it, that's all I can.
I know, it is the song I play if I'm speaking on stage. It's like
Really?
it's my walk-on song. It's like
yeah.
my kids love singing it. Yes.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for giving up your time to come on our Pitstop podcast. I think at some point we definitely need to figure out how to get you on a We Have Cool Friends episode, so you too can have
definitely
a
like
fancy
it's on
card.
my bucket list, Aaron.
Yeah.
I want a top
And
card.
we'll make sure you take a Joe Woods silver shiny home with you as well. If you want more content like this one, you're in the right place to make sure that you use a like, subscribe, and all that sort of jazz to have content like this delivered directly to you. So we've got more content coming your way. We've got more podcast pit stop. We've got more of our grid walks, and also we've got some very exciting news coming our way. And we were able to give you some NDAs and break them as we go along. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being one of our amazing guests, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.